What if the scariest part of an urban legend is realizing it might be true? I used to think stories like the Devil's Dance were just something old people in small towns told to keep kids from sneaking out. You know, the kind, grainy, whispered warnings about a man with hose who appears at dances, charming everyone until it's too late. It sounded ridiculous until it happened to someone I knew, until it almost happened to me. This story starts in a dusty town just outside Monterrey, Mexico. My mom used to take us there every summer to visit her family. It was the kind of place where time slowed down. No Wi-Fi, no malls, just old radios, street vendors, and family cookouts that lasted all day. It felt safe, familiar, until that summer I turned 16. That year, there was a local fair held at an abandoned schoolyard just on the edge of town. Everyone was talking about the Friday night dance, La Fiesta del Diablo, they called it. I laughed when I heard the name. My cousin Elena warned me not to go. She said something bad always happened at that dance. She said a girl disappeared last year. But people vanish in big cities all the time. This was a small town. Nothing ever really happened here. I ignored her. I wish I hadn't. The night of the dance, the air was heavy with heat and music. Strings of dim lights swung above the crowd, casting strange shadows on the crumbling walls of the old school. Everything smelled like sweat, roasted corn, and perfume. It felt more alive than anything I'd ever experienced in the city. The kind of energy you can't explain unless you've lived it. That's when I saw him. He was standing near the edge of the dance floor, not dancing, just watching. Tall, dressed in black. His face half hidden by the brim of a dusty hat. Something about him didn't sit right. Everyone else was moving, smiling, laughing. But he stood perfectly still, eyes locked on the crowd. On me. I tried to brush it off. Maybe he was just shy. Maybe he was waiting for someone. But when the music slowed, he stepped forward and offered me his hand. I don't know why I took it. His touch was cold, ice cold, but his smile was warm. He moved with perfect rhythm, like he'd rehearsed this dance 1,000 times. And yet, I couldn't hear his footsteps. Not a single one. After a while, people started staring. Not in admiration, more like discomfort, even fear. One by one, couples stopped dancing. The lights flickered. I felt dizzy. My hands were sweating, my heart racing. But I couldn't let go of him. "Don't stop," he whispered, barely audible over the music. "It's only just beginning." Suddenly, I remembered what Elena said. He dances until your soul forgets how to stop. I blinked, and he was gone. Just like that. I stumbled back, breathless, confused, cold. My body felt like I'd been spinning for hours. Everyone was looking at me like I was crazy. The music had stopped. My phone was gone. And so was he. I ran home barefoot, convinced I'd hallucinated the whole thing. But the next morning, Elena looked at me like she knew. She didn't say, "I told you so." She just handed me a newspaper clipping, yellowed and folded. Teen girl disappears during local dance. Witnesses claim she vanished mid-song. The date? Exactly 1 year ago. Same fair. Same dance. The girl's name was Mariana. She was 17. Her last known sighting, dancing with a man in black. I couldn't sleep that night. My thoughts kept looping back to the way he looked at me, like he was choosing me, like I wasn't supposed to say no. A few days later, we went to light candles at the church. That's when I saw the statue. It was tucked in a corner behind a velvet curtain, barely visible. A small brass figure of a man with hooves. His hands outstretched like he was mid-dance. The plaque underneath was worn smooth, but I made out one word, El Bailarín. The dancer. It wasn't a joke. It wasn't a legend. It was a ritual, a curse, a warning. They say the devil doesn't chase you. He invites you. After we returned to the city, I tried to forget about it. I deleted the pictures from that night. I didn't tell anyone at school. But 2 months later, I saw a TikTok, grainy footage from a dance in Durango. Different town, same song, same lights. And in the background, a figure standing perfectly still, watching. The caption read, "She disappeared 2 hours after this was filmed." And the worst part? I recognized him. I don't go to parties anymore. I don't dance. I can't. Sometimes I still dream of him, waiting, smiling, hand outstretched. If you ever find yourself in Mexico during the summer, and someone invites you to an old-school town dance, check the floor before you say yes. If the man doesn't leave footprints, run. After that summer, I thought I could outgrow the fear. Thought I could write it off as paranoia, a heat stroke, or maybe a local prank taken too far. But something shifted in me. You can laugh off one weird experience, but not two, especially when the second one follows you home. A few weeks after school started, I began having the same dream. I was back in that dusty schoolyard, the music echoing through the air like it was underwater. Except this time, I wasn't dancing. I was watching someone else. A girl in a white dress, twirling and smiling, and a man in black holding her so close I couldn't see her face. When I tried to scream, my voice wouldn't come out. When I tried to run, my legs wouldn't move. And right before I'd wake up, the girl would turn her head, and it was me. I didn't tell anyone. Who would believe me? My cousin Elena stopped answering my texts after that summer. Maybe she was scared. Maybe she knew what I was becoming. It got worse the night after I went to a friend's birthday party back in the city. It was just 10 people, some cake, music in the background. But around 11 p.m., someone started playing an old Spanish song I hadn't heard in years. My stomach dropped immediately. My hands started to sweat. I swear I could smell the dust, the fire-roasted corn, the sweat of the schoolyard. And that's when I saw him. In the window. Not in the party. Outside. On the street. Standing under a flickering street lamp, like he had nowhere else in the world to be. No one else noticed. Or if they did, no one said anything. I didn't say anything either. I just froze. For a full 5 minutes, he didn't move. Didn't blink. Just stared. Then, just before I worked up the nerve to tell someone, the music skipped, and he vanished. Like a static glitch in a bad VHS tape. I made up an excuse and left early. That night, I locked my bedroom window for the first time in years. But it didn't matter. 2 nights later, I was home alone. My mom had a late shift, and my sister was at a sleepover. It was raining, just light enough to be annoying. I was watching old VHS tapes my dad left behind before he passed. Most of them were family parties, birthdays, awkward dancing, kids falling off chairs. Normal stuff, until one of them glitched. I was rewinding a tape labeled Christmas '98 when it jumped forward suddenly. The screen fuzzed and landed on a dark scene, completely out of place. Like it had recorded something it shouldn't have. It showed a girl, young, maybe 15, dancing alone in a dimly lit hall. The floor looked like worn wood, and a red cloth banner hung behind her, sagging slightly. There were no other people, no music, and then he stepped in a frame. Same man, same black outfit, same cold stillness. I couldn't breathe. My chest tightened. This was no fairground, no TikTok. This was recorded years ago, long before I ever met him, before I was born. I ejected the tape, heart pounding, and threw in the trash. But part of me knew it wouldn't matter. He wasn't just some figure from a story. He was something older, something that didn't need to obey time the way we do. After that night, I couldn't sleep properly. Every time I closed my eyes, I heard the music, not loud, just a soft echo, like someone playing a radio in another room. Always the same song, and I started noticing things. Black scuff marks near my bedroom door, even though no one wore shoes in the house. Mud on the hallway floor, shaped like a heel, and something else. A half-moon print, like the curve of a hoof. I started researching. Deep forums, old books, not the kind you find on Amazon. The kind that people upload scanned pages of from libraries no longer in service. Turns out, El Bailarín wasn't just some Mexican campfire story. Variations of him appear all over Latin America. In Argentina, they call him El Mudo, the silent one. In Guatemala, El Pisador, the stepper. But always the same traits. Tall, elegant, well-dressed, and never leaves a footprint. The legend says he chooses dancers. People with rhythm, joy, movement. And once he dances with you, part of you is never quite yours again. One night, in a final act of desperation, I messaged a woman who had posted on a forgotten forum about the man in black. Her username was Lunacera82. I asked if she had danced with him. She replied with one sentence: "You don't dance with him. You disappear in his arms." And then she blocked me. That was the last straw. I convinced my mom to let us spend Christmas with my aunt in Texas. I thought maybe distance would break the connection. Maybe he was tied to the place, to the music, to the language. It worked for a while, until 3 weeks ago. I was walking past a church in Austin, one of those old, quiet ones that looks abandoned in daylight, but holds midnight services. I wasn't going in. I just stopped to tie my shoe, and I heard it. The music, the same goddamn melody. Soft, slow, echoing from inside. I stood there, frozen, as the front door creaked open. Just a sliver, and in that sliver, I saw movement. A figure dancing, alone. I didn't wait to see who it was. I ran. But here's the worst part. The truly messed up part that I haven't told anyone. Every night since then, when I close my eyes, I feel my body start to sway. Not in fear, not in resistance, in rhythm. Like I'm waiting for someone to take my hand again. People ask me why I don't go out anymore. Why I flinch when certain songs play. Why I look over my shoulder when there's no one there. It's because once you've danced with him, he doesn't forget you. And he doesn't stop.